I'm just going to turn it over to Josh, and really you guys will drive the way the period goes. Whatever you want to talk about, just bring it up.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Josh. Like I've been really stupid for a lot of years, and I've learned a lot through it. That's my personal history. It's been a constant, just like experimentation on like, oh, pop quiz for the guys. What does the restroom here smell like? No, no.
Too nice.
Huh?
They put those. They put like new urinal things in, and it smells like mints or like.
like faux sea breeze and urine, just a little bit, but like faux sea breeze. Like I don't know, just like there's so much to drink in this world. So that's me. That's me as a person. That's my personal backstory. I was always verbose. They called me Professor Josh. That was my my nickname in kindergarten. She said, "Oh, well, how do you catch a deer?" And I said, "Well, you climb up into a tree, you hang upside down, and you act like a pickle. Deers like pickles, right?" Yeah. I think that's sort of the mindset of a poet. Like you don't always know what the truth is, but you can at least imagine yourself into interesting situations. And then, then you go and experiment and find out how full of shit you are. And that's called growing up. Yeah.
What is the most peculiar thing that happened to you that inspired you?
Oh, this. I think that if you start thinking that the majority of life is unpeculiar, then that's going to adversely affect your writing. I think that most things that happen to me are peculiar. Right? As if peculiar means different and interesting. Right? If you look deep enough into anything, it's different and interesting. If you walk into your restroom and you go, it's different and interesting.
Are there any like renowned poets that you dislike? Like any famous poets that you can't stand reading?
Like a lot of the romantic stuff I just don't dig on. You know, this like swooning over women for 100 pages. Like, yeah, I can't do it. Can't do it. It's like it's been done, man. Like you know, it's like, oh, your bosoms are like snow covered up. Whatever, man. Just like I could sum all this. I want to have sex with you. Right? Just write that, Keats, and then go and chase it. Live life, right? If that's what you mean, go do it. Don't spend your life writing about it.
Your least favorite thing that people do.
Least favorite thing? Okay, yeah, judgment. Because usually judgment precedes imagination. Imagination should always precede judgment. That's the brilliance of the Supreme Court. Like Justice Sotomayor, you listen to her, and it's all imaginative. It's like, wait, so put yourself in this situation, right? And I feel like a lot of times people judge quickly based on where they are, as opposed to, you know, it's like my little self-description on my blog says, the first line is, imagination unbinds the radius of compassion. Become every world you crash through, right? Jump into it. Feel it.
Like living with open eyes and really not judging, or like even on a subconscious level. Like I just can't imagine living my life like that. Do you ever feel like the things you want to write or like the experiences you have, the view you have, has been like done before or said before?
Yeah.
And then
Every
write
time.
It anyway?
No. The reason that you write it is because it's been done before. That's how you know that somebody's going to read it and say, oh good, I'm not alone in the world, right? That's your guarantee. If somebody else has written about it, then you know that when you write it, somebody else is going to read it and say, I understand. The last thing you want to do is write about something that no one else has experienced. When I was standing at the bottom of the ocean and it looked like a blue of a thing, and people are like, I have no frame of reference upon which to empathize or understand what you are talking about, right? That's a lonely, lonely poem. You say, I was standing in line at Kmart, and there was this fat guy, and he had a liter of soda and a bag of sugar, and I said cause effect. Legitimate experience happened to me. It was a Ralph's, it wasn't a Kmart. But right, you say that, and people connect to it. And that's that's why I say that perception precedes poetry. You have to go in and what is this world like, right? And most people are looking like they're watching a wedding, they're looking at the bride, they're looking at the groom. Turn around and look at what the little kid's doing. Look at the feet of the old guy who, you thought was just but really he wants to, be out of there. And I'm like, come on, old man, where are you going to go so fast if we actually let you out right now? But these are the things. Expand your perception, look around. It's the challenge of taking something everybody has experienced and noting something about it that everybody knows but has never thought to be conscious about. You're helping people to expand their perceptions. That's valuable social work, I think. And that's why I write poems. I hope that comes across in some of them. You read this and you're like, oh, I know what he's talking about, right? And I never looked at it that way before. That's what I want to get out of people when I write.
Does religion or any spiritual thing play any role in your writing or worldview?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like. Salud. I feel like. Why is it funny when I say it in Spanish and not when I say it in English? Yeah. If you think of religion as just sort of moralized habit, I do this way, and I've done it so long this way that surely I must be right. I think that that's something that's very important to challenge and set on edge. So I poke at people's habits a lot.
Okay. So how do you deal with other people's?
Because I know why people judge. Right? I've been there. I didn't pop out of the womb accepting everybody. I popped out of the womb saying, me, and then me, and everything that's against me is evil. It's the stages of development you go through. So what kind of a hypocrite would I be if I said, well, I judge you for judging, when I spent a big chunk of my life being first self-absorbed, and then be judgmental against anybody who didn't believe or want to do the things that I wanted to do. Yeah, so I completely understand why they do it. It's hard. It's hard work to not be judgmental. You have to get on yourself, because it's easy to look at the fat guy and be like, oh, fat guy, you're so fat. It's bad for you. Why would you be fat? Right? That's it's in my gut, and when I feel that, it's oh, don't do that, Josh. That's a nasty feeling. Nasty. And then I talk myself past it to a point where I'm okay, put yourself in this guy's shoes, where he's been raised on Kit Kats and almond bars, and flip back to the time when you were 23 and you were trying to kick white flour. And you remember how hard that was, right? I couldn't stop putting cookies in my mouth, so I just stopped swallowing them. I was working at a daycare, and we had cookies out, sugar cookies, and I was I cannot not eat those. But I'm also swearing I've sworn off this crap. So what do? I chew it, and then it's sweet and delicious, and you want to swallow that sweet nectar, and then you just keep chewing. Just keep chewing. Get past the good part, it gets really bad. It just turns into a brick, a disgusting brick. Oh, and the chemical flavor starts coming out, and you're I don't want this in my mouth anymore. Right? The inverse happens with an Ezekiel multi-grain sprouted tortilla. You chew it, and all the grains start coming out, right? So I remember that, and I understand how hard it would be for this fat guy to put a cookie in his mouth and just keep chewing. Because I understand what the sweet nectar of that cookie at the beginning, and how if you don't take the time, you never realize that, oh, this bread can be good too. And I know that his taste buds are blunted by years and years of salt and fat and sugar. I know. I can understand that. I don't know what I was even answering. Yeah.
Do you find it harder to write about abstract ideas or life philosophies as opposed to events or people?
Give me an example.
Like when you're running and an idea about something just pops into your head, or is it easier to you witness something while you're driving in your car and that's what you're focused on?
I completely have no idea what you're asking. where's like you just gave me a lot of concrete, and we're talking about concrete versus abstract, but you've just given me 2 examples of concrete. So what are you talking about?
Okay, if you're running with your eyes closed.
That is dangerous. Yes.
And an idea about life in general, or a thought without it coming from what you see. Do you know what like?
No, give me an example. What's the abstract that comes to me while I'm running? No, philosophy is not an example. That is a huge word.
So then maybe that's the answer, that you typically go after something more specific. And
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
The answer.
What is that? So you're saying the answer to my question is essentially like the thing that you've probably all gotten on your papers? Be specific?
Yeah.
Okay. Be specific. No. If I were going to do something big, it would be a screenplay. I'm not going to do, life's too short for big books. There was the guy who wrote House of Leaves. You know this book? That weird, trippy book? Yeah, somebody loaned it to me. There's a quote in there that says, "Take note, people who write long books have very little to say. Of course, people who write shorter books have even less to say." That's why I write poetry. It's even less than that.